Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shivaidi Brahmedi Vedantino Bauddha Buddhaidi Pramana Padavaha Kartedi Nayyayika Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarataha Karmedi Mimamsaka Sohoyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trahilokyanatho Harihi Sohoyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trahilokyanatho Harihi Shuddho Buddho Vimuktaha Sudhishikaragiram Mukhyatatparya Bhumi Yasmat Jadam Samastam Jagadidam Amrutat Vyapya Sarvam Sthito Yaha Yasyam Sham Shavatare Suranaravanajayir Yakshidam Sarvametad Tam Bhumanam Mugundam Hridigatam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadye Tam Bhumanam Mugundam Hridigatam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadye Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guruhu Udetu Satatam Samyak Swatmananda Prabodhagaha Swatmananda Prabodhagaha Harihi 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 Om Tatsat Jai Guru Jai Guru. We shall have as usual 3 times the joint recitation of the auspicious monosyllable Omkara, which increases the health and longevity of the heart and also of the brain. Many people do not know this. Every day try to chant 10 times Omkara. Close your eyes and, if necessary, press these two. I don't know what is the name for this, the ears here. Don't close. You will find the entire brain, head, will be beaming. It has got tremendous effect. Om, 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 Om. Wonderful. It will improve the quality of the intelligence, the subtlety of the mind, the perceptiveness of everything put together. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close your eyes and open the mouth and the heart. Let this joint recitation spread over the entire earth and shower its benedictions on every creature of the land. Harihi, Harihi. Here some have a very long breath. Very good. Now I am going to take you all through from the Para to the Apara Vidya. विद्या में दो विभाग है, एक ऊंचा है, ऊंची विद्या श्रेष्ठ, और दूसरा वो श्रेष्ठ नहीं है, निकृष्ट तो हम नहीं बोलते। श्रेष्ठ विद्या क्या है? अभी तक हमने चर्चा की अपरा विद्या के प्रति। आज शुरू से हम बोलना चाहते हैं, बोलेंगे परा विद्या क्या है। श्रेष्ठ विद्या यही है जिसके द्वारा खोजने वाला जो समझना चाहता है वो the source of the entire creation he will reach, he will know. What is the source of the entire creation? Scientists will never be able to discover it or uncover it. They cannot do it, they will not do it, however much they do. But the spiritualist has already done it, and spiritualists are continuing to do it. Do you know why? The scientist uses always his eyes, other senses, in order to perceive. But the senses themselves are inert. They can only see outside. They cannot see anything inside. But there is a presence inside our body. That is what we refer to as the mind, thought, emotion, memory, knowledge, reason, will. From where are these generated? Not from the body is inert. So within our body there is an incalculable measure of greatness. How can we probe into it through a microscope or a telescope? Doctors can examine only the body. Every day we are sleeping. What is this sleep? Sometimes drugs are inducing sleep. They may induce sleep by a physical administration of the drug into the biological body. But when a man sleeps, he withdraws from the wakefulness, but he goes into something. That something is inaccessible to objective sciences. Do you understand? सभी लोग तो सोते हैं। सोना क्या है? सोने में क्या होता है? We are completely withdrawn from the wakefulness. That much we understand. But what is absorbing us, drawing us in, and what is that inside? Nobody has been able to discover or uncover. But the entire secret is within our body. So here he now says, the entire Rigveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, Samaveda, all the 6 Shastras, all of them are coming within the category of Apara Vidya. और नीचे वाली विद्या, ऊंची वाली विद्या क्या है? In one sentence he is speaking about it. I would like to recite it and make you recite if you want. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnam achakshushrotram tadapanipādam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhīrā. See, our Shastras have something very distinctional in nature. Whenever a person speaks about knowledge, he will say, this is what knowers say. He will never say, this is what I say. Actually, his book and his statement are his. That means the knowledge existed before him and he has acquired it. Here he says, Paripashyanti dhīrāha. The wise people perceive this to be so. The wise people. He doesn't say, I am telling you. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnam. Kya? दोहराएंगे? यत्तद् अद्रेश्यम अग्राह्यम अगोत्रम अवर्णम अचक्षुश्रोत्रम तद् अपानिपादम नित्यम विभुम सर्वगतम सुसूक्ष्मम तदव्ययम यद् भूतयोनिम परिपश्यन्ति धीराः. धीराः means बुद्धिमान लोग, the wise people. Every one of you has a feeling that God is this, is that. He is nothing like that. दृश्य प्रपंच को हम देख सकते हैं, इससे परे जो है वो हम आंखों के द्वारा कभी नहीं देख सकेंगे. दृश्य प्रपंच का जो लक्षण है, कोई वो लक्षण इसका सोर्स है, हेतु, उद्भव स्थान, उसमें कुछ नहीं रहेगा. तब आज अच्छी तरह सोच कर बोलिए, भगवान की रचना है दुनिया. इस रचना में सारा कुछ है, संपूर्ण है. इसमें रूप है, गुण है, बहुत कुछ है. फिर भी जिसने प्रपंच को बनाया उसमें एक कुछ नहीं रहेगा. तब आपका भगवान किस प्रकार का है, थोड़ा बोलिए. भगवान कभी दिखाई देगा क्या? बोलिए ना सोच कर. दुनिया तो दिखाई देती है, ये दृश्य है. दृश्य जो वस्तु है उसका हेतु, उसका स्रोतस जो है, वो आंखों के द्वारा या कानों के द्वारा, दूसरी इंद्रियों के द्वारा वो कभी उसका दर्शन नहीं हो सकता है. इसीलिए भगवान होने के लिए भगवान को अरूपी होना चाहिए, अदृश्य होना चाहिए. भगवान का पैर नहीं रहेगा, सिर नहीं रहेगा, हाथ नहीं रहेगा, कोई रूप कभी नहीं हो सकता है. आकाश का कोई रूप है क्या? हाँ, आकाश का कोई स्मेल है, कोई रंग है? बोलिए ना थोड़ा सोचकर. यदि आकाश का कुछ नहीं है, आकाश सर्वव्यापक है, उसी प्रकार भगवान भी सर्वव्यापक है. सर्वव्यापक होने के नाते जो सर्वव्यापक है उसका कोई कुछ रूप नहीं रहेगा. इस वस्तु के प्रति या इस सान्निध्य के प्रति जो विचार करता है और तत्व विचार करके बुद्धि को जगा कर बुद्धि के सम्मुख ये स्पष्ट हो जाता है, वो बुद्धिमान है. भगवान के पास और दुनिया के हेतु के पास जाने का एक ही रास्ता है, वो रास्ता बुद्धि है. बुद्धि को लेकर, बुद्धि का काम क्या है? खोजना, विचार करना, पहले प्रश्न उठाना, उस प्रश्न के पीछे खोजना. न्यूटन ने जिस प्रकार किया मैंने बताया, 1 साल तक खोजा, तब तो समझ में आया बुद्धि की आकर्षण शक्ति है हर एक एप्पल गिरने का हेतु. 1 year he thought and meditated. So यहाँ बताया है यत्तद् अद्रेश्यम अग्राह्यम अगोत्रम अवर्णम. Think of that which cannot be seen, which cannot be perceived by the senses. Agrahyam. Therefore you cannot grasp it. I can understand this, see this, hold this. So I know all about this. बट भगवान उस प्रकार नहीं है, प्रपंच का हेतु जो है वो उस प्रकार नहीं है, उसका दर्शन आंखों के द्वारा कभी नहीं हो सकता। अग्राह्यम, उसका ग्रहण करना भी संभव नहीं है। अगोत्रम, it does not belong to any lineage. All of us have a gotra. Which lineage you belong to, that is indicated by the gotra. But you tell me about the first parent, what gotra he has or he had, and the hetu of that first parent. Will it have any gotra? Gotra is only going to begin after people get born. Agotram, avarnam, कोई रंग भी नहीं है, there is no color also. Achakshushrotram, that hedu does not have either eyes or ears. Tadapanipadam, that hedu does not have either feet or hands. उसकी आंख नहीं, पैर नहीं, हाथ नहीं, ये भी नहीं. Then what is it? Yes, it is. We will tell you about the qualities of that wonderful thing, that wonderful source. What is the quality? Nityam. बोलिए. उसका अर्थ क्या है? एवर प्रेजेंट, लगातार वो रहता है, रह रहा है, कभी उसका तिरोधान नहीं होगा, उसका अस्तित्व नहीं हो पाता. नित्यम, एवर प्रेजेंट, विभुम, it can make itself in any manner manifest. उसकी अभिव्यक्ति बहुत प्रकार की हो सकती है. The entire universe is its abhivyakti. Achakshushrotram, nityam, vibhum, sarvagatam, sarvagatam, sarvagatam. बोलिए. सर्वगतम अर्थ क्या है? सभी जगहों में, बाहर हो या भीतर हो, outside or inside, it will be present. You can make a room and close it perfectly. Air will not enter it. Water will not enter it. Fire will not enter it. Earth certainly will not. But this can enter everywhere. Sarvagatam. Whatever is present, whatever is formed, whatever comes into existence, you will find it is present there. Tadavyayam. It is avyaya. Inexhaustible. Inexhaustible. उसका व्यय कभी नहीं हो पाता. तद भूतयोनिम परिपश्यन्ति धीरा. That is the source of all bhutas. This is the way wise people have seen it. Now this discussion is called Para Vidya discussion. You may learn in any university or knowledge center any subject of your choice or all subjects. You will still be learning what is visible and limited. What is visible and limited. What is present everywhere and what has no head, no hands, no feet, that which has no form, that cannot be learned from any of the knowledge centers, academic centers available before us. That is why our Shaunaka, a great and mature householder, went to Angiras, an ascetic, living in the solitude of a forest, asking him, by knowing which I can know everything. This is only one factor that you have to know. What is the source of the entire creation? The source of the entire creation. In the whole creation you have only matter and energy. But there is a third factor in our own experience and understanding. That is the presence that animates our body, that is inside it. That is the third factor. And third factor is called consciousness or chetana or chaitanya. That is the only other factor which has shaped the entire world, which operates upon matter and energy and brings about activities of various kinds, interactions of various kinds in the whole creation. My dear souls, I want to tell all of you, you are carrying in your personality the entire creation plus the third factor. समझा है क्या? हाँ? The entire world consists of matter and energy. Matter and energy you have. The whole body is matter. Sound is matter. Heat as a sound is energy. Heat is energy. So you carry the whole creation plus the third factor, namely consciousness. So tell me, who are you? Do you have an estimation about you? सभी लोग बोलते हैं मैं हूँ, वो मैं क्या है, किस प्रकार का है? हमारे व्यक्तित्व में हम द्रव्य और ऊर्जा जिनसे सारी दुनिया बनाई गई है वो भी हमारे व्यक्तित्व में है, और बाहरी दुनिया में जो नहीं है वो भी हमारे व्यक्तित्व में है। इसका अर्थ मनुष्य संपूर्ण है, उसको कुछ मिलने का नहीं, उसको कुछ मिलने का नहीं। I tell the world, my dear world, do whatever you want and whatever you like. Throw me wherever you wish. You will never be able to inflict a minus on me, or you will never be able to add a plus to me. ये सत्य है या नहीं? बोलिए आप। बोलिए ना, चुप रहते हैं क्यों? बोलिए ना, नहीं हो तो हाँ बोलिए। My body is full of matter. Inside the matterful body, I also carry the third factor, namely that inner presence. With these, I am full. I am full. मुझे कोई कुछ मिलने का नहीं है। मेरा लॉस भी, खो जाना भी बिल्कुल कभी नहीं होगा। What shall I lose? Lose what? This kind of a fullness can be acquired by man. That is called Para Vidya. हम सभी लोगों को बोलते हैं भगवान जो है वो संसार से विलक्षण है। संसार में जो कुछ है वो भगवान में नहीं होगा, कारण संसार का हेतु है भगवान। यदि सभी का हेतु, सभी का उत्पत्ति स्थान होना चाहिए, सभी की माता या पिता होना चाहिए, तब सभी से अलग होना आवश्यक है। दिस सिंपल प्रिंसिपल आर यू एबल टू ग्रास्प? See, the matter cannot be born out of matter. Matter A was born from matter B. So my question will be, where from the matter B was born? From C. Then I will ask you where from C was born. So ultimately, anything cannot be born of itself. It has to be born from something distinct from it. This is why every one of you becomes stuck. अच्छी तरह समझ लीजिए। फिर यदि I don't want to discuss it, but if you want me, I shall explain. Then why are we having temples? Because of the inability and helplessness of the people to think about the formless presence of God. They are seeing the sky. The sky is unlike the four Buddhas, unlike the solid earth, the fluid water, the gaseous air, and the heat and brilliant fire. The sky is unlike these, but it is within the sky that the four Bhutas are present, and they are born of the sky. Do you know the proportion of the entirety of space and the aggregate of all the celestial bodies inside that? Is my question clear? Huh? Imagine the measure of space and collect and aggregate all the celestial bodies, including our earth. You know what is the proportion? 0.19 zeros and 1. Tell me which is born of what? So we are seeing the space. Even in meditation, Srimad Bhagavata, Krishna clearly says, think of Lord Mahavishnu, चतुर्भुजधारी भगवान को याद रखो, ध्यान करो. जब ध्यान ठीक होता है और भगवान का सारा शरीर, चतुर्भुजधारी का शरीर मन में अच्छी तरह अंकित हो जाता है, उस समय क्या करना? आर वी फॉलोइंग इज माई भाषा राइट? उसको खींच कर, आई डोंट नो, दैट्स नॉट द राइट वर्ड, सारे शरीर के स्थान पर बाकी सब छोड़कर जो मुस्कुराता हुआ चेहरे को देखो. सिंपली लुक एट द स्माइलिंग फेस. जब मन उस पर लग जाता है तब क्या करना है? उससे मन को उठाकर आकाश पर लगाओ. नहीं समझा? सुनती हैं, समझती हैं? पहले भगवान का शरीर पूर्ण रूप में सोचना, बाद मुख मात्र सोचना, वहाँ से उठाकर आकाश में लगाना. फिर क्या करना है? आकाश से भी उठाना चाहिए. और क्या करना है? कुछ मत सोचो, कुछ मत सोचो, भगवान को भी सोचो मत. Take the mind to a state of thought freeness. That is the time when you will perceive the real God. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavata. आप लोग क्या बोलते हैं? थोड़ा शास्त्र पढ़िए ना, नहीं तो सुनिए. इसलिए मैंने कहा आध्यात्मिक अभिवृद्धि या उन्नति के लिए क्या करना है? शास्त्रों से नहीं हो तो साधु महात्माओं से संपर्क करना. आपके घर में एक वाणी भी इस प्रकार नहीं सुनाई देगी. आजकल तो सुविधा काफ़ी है. हम तो ग्लोबल सत्संग करते हैं 4 दिन हर हफ्ते में. So this is called Para Vidya. Para Vidya. यत्तदद्रेश्यमग्राह्यमगोत्रमवर्णम् अचक्षुश्रोत्रं तदपानिपादं नित्यं विभुं सर्वगतं सुसूक्ष्मं तदव्ययं यद् भूतयोनिं परिपश्यन्ति धीराः. This is the 6th verse of Mundakopanishad. Your understanding should be more and more developed. आप भगवान की पूजा करते हैं, भगवान की याद करते हैं, भगवान की स्तुति करते हैं, सब कुछ मान लिया, फिर भी भगवान के प्रति सोचते नहीं. जब तक नहीं सोचेंगे आपकी पूजा बाहरी पूजा ही रहे. फूल यहाँ से उठाया और वहाँ रख दिया और दूसरे दिन यहाँ से भी उठाकर फेंक दिया, इतना ही होता है. भगवान के प्रति यदि आप प्रबुद्धता चाहते हैं तब सोच विचार करना आवश्यक है. सारी उपनिषद, सारी भगवद गीता विचार की बात है. मानसिक और बौद्धिक अभिव्यक्ति है उसमें. Now do you understand why the entire Vedas, hymns, rituals and other ceremonies become meaningless and irrelevant? हमको पहुंचना है कहाँ? ये सब देख लिए, मन लिए, कुछ कुछ काम तो हम करते हैं। काम करने से क्या होगा? काम का कुछ फल होगा? समझना तो नहीं हो सकता है। हम जानते हैं, जानना चाहते हैं। In the whole human personality, senses are outermost. Mind is inward. Still inward is the intelligence. एक प्रोवर्ब है, मनः कृतम कृतम कार्यम न तो देह कृतम कृतम। जो काम मन से किया हुआ है वही ठीक प्रकार किया है। न तो देह कृतम कृतम, देह से जो काम करते हैं वो नहीं किया है। Mind is the most important factor. Still more important is the intelligence. Now I am asking you a question. I was discussing that knowledge is divided into two kinds, Apara and Para. The entire Vedic knowledge, including ritual ceremonies, etc., all of them fall under the lower kind. The higher kind is the one which I explained to you. When you start beginning, when you start to think about, inquire about what is the source of the entire existence, then you start the Para Vidya. Now in the Upanishad, always there is a discussion of this Para Vidya. Para Vidya. If anybody goes to the forest to seek a sage, naturally he is an inquirer and a seeker, and he must be leaving everything else behind and then going. So he exclusively discusses the subject with his teacher, spends all the time in understanding it. He also contemplates and meditates. This is called Jnana Nishtha. That Jnana Nishtha is completely different from the Samhita and the Brahmana portions of the Vedas. Samhita means the portion dealing with hymns and prayers. The next portion is ritualizing them with fire sacrifices, etc. But can all people live like Shaunaka has left and go to an Angiras? That is not possible at all. So what can be done? Can the benefit of the Upanishadic Vidya or Upanishadic knowledge be made available to the others? The answer is yes. And that yes is what you find in Bhagavad Gita. Am I clear? Huh? Both Krishna and Arjuna were in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Both of them had gone there, Krishna as the charioteer of Arjuna, to fight the battle of 18 days. It was right before the commencement of discharge of arrows that the war dialogue took place. They were in the midst of 4.5 million warriors. 45 क्षत्रिय वीरों के बीच खड़े हुए ये संवाद हुआ उन दोनों के बीच. इसका अर्थ क्या है? Can the Upanishads be pursued only in the forest, or it can also be pursued in the midst of intense activity? You should answer me. Is it a performance science also, or is it only an austere contemplative science? Bhagavad Gita is a full answer to this question. This great Para Vidya, can it only be heard from ascetics living in forest and solitude and practiced there, or can the same knowledge have any relevance to the man of the world in the midst of his activity? Bhagavad Gita says it can be. People call this Bhagavad Gita religious. I am ashamed. At least you call it so, I have no objection. But it's not religious at all. Where was the scope to hear religion or practice religion in the battlefield? In the battlefield, everybody comes to fight and kill. To fight and kill. 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 There is no moment for anything else. At that time, before the commencement of discharge of arrows, Arjuna was in doubt, delusion, fear and ignorance. He was in doubt, delusion, fear and ignorance. And these four did not allow him to stand even with his bow and arrow. He kept them down and sat on the chariot. What more do you want? A valorous performer, a giant. That giant came ambitiously, with a lot of aspiration, to fight the war with his Pashupadastra and Gandiva. He came there. He was in forest for 12 years. 12 सालों तक वन में रहे. उस समय श्री कृष्ण ने एक बार वहाँ जाकर पूछा, देखा, बहुत कुछ हुआ है. जब the display took place, Krishna was not there at all. He was away. After he returned, he came to know that there was a display. Yudhishthira was defeated, disarmed, and they have been banished to the forest. The moment he knew about it, he went to the forest to see Pandavas. At any point of time, Arjuna never raised the subject of Para Vidya before him. He thought that war was everything. Skill in fighting was everything. I have got Pashupadastra. He did penance. What for? For Pashupadastra. He never thought that there is an inner presence in the body. He never knew that knowledge was of two kinds. Even if he had known, he never attended further. If it was a religious dialogue, that should have transpired in the 12 years of forest exile. All that is over. And he has come to the battlefield to fight. Any discussion in the war field will be of fight to fight, will be of fight to fight, to fight, to fight. For a performer, performance is the subject of discussion. Not idleness, not retreat from any kind of an activity. We have to make huge bridges. Many kinds of civil construction are there. Some of them involve risks. Seeing the risks, we cannot be afraid, frightened. Take safeguards and still make an attempt. Otherwise, how can any development in any country take place? This world is a karmic world. Everyone is supposed to act here. Do not speak of idleness and laziness. रोज रोज आप लोग खाते हैं ना, खाने के द्वारा क्या होता है? ऊर्ज बनता है. उस ऊर्ज को हम किस प्रकार खर्च करें? कर्म के द्वारा, कार्रवाइयों के द्वारा. Suppose you eat and do not act, you will become fatter and fatter, and the door also may have to be replaced after a few years. What are you saying? People are speaking nonsense. काम करने का क्षेत्र है मनुष्य जन्म. मैंने काम को छोड़ा, आपको बताया. काम छोड़कर हम चुप रहे क्या? I was always involved in a more arduous activity throughout. So this Upanishad Vidya is equally applicable to the field of activity. Let the activity be anything. Of all the human activities, all of you are here. Do you know that fighting is the most intense activity, challenging, risky, painful and what not? In the war, what are you marching for? To face the bullets and to fire the bullets. In the latest war, one youngster, he was going and telling his boss, I would like to go, please send me. Please send me. I would like to go to the war front. And he was sent. Everybody wants to kill as many as he can. That is the language, that is the wish, that is the pulsation, that is the ambition and aspiration. The entire psycho-intellectual personality is after this. So this is not a religious book at all. It is a warfield book, an administrative book. That is why we have described the Gita as an administrative treasure trove. Who will fight? The administering government alone can fight. Others are not authorized to fight. None is allowed to kill another. But the military is allowed only to kill another. So what are you saying? Try to understand. This Bhagavad Gita is a marvel. More than 5,059 years have passed since it was written. Vedas were only said, uttered. Bhagavad Gita was written, copied on palm leaves. And our people have preserved this book without a change of letter or syllable. We have preserved it. They read it. Those who understood it, they tried to teach it to the others. And in the entire nooks and corners of our great country, the name of Bhagavad Gita is heard, and many are people who read it, who understand it, who follow it also. Arjuna was a very gross-minded person. He was a sensory person. He never thought of anything better. Both Arjuna and Duryodhana went to Dwaraka seeking help before the war. Yudhishthira mustered 11 Akshauhinis of Sena. Not Yudhishthira, Duryodhana. Yudhishthira could muster only 7. Imagine the proportion. More than 1.5 times Duryodhana had. So they sought Krishna's help. Both of them went. Duryodhana reached earlier. And Krishna was sleeping. Whether he was sleeping or when he saw Duryodhana, he pretended to sleep, you should ask him. So Duryodhana came and saw Krishna सो रहा है. तब उसने क्या सोचा? तुरंत जाकर सिर के पास एक सोफा है, उसमें बैठा. थोड़ी बाद अर्जुन तो आ गया. देखा कृष्ण परमात्मा सो रहे हैं. तब क्या करना है? पैर के पास बैठकर चुप रहा. कृष्ण ने देखता था. कृष्ण देखता था. ओह, अर्जुन भी आगे और पैर तक बैठता है. अच्छा हो गया. तब आंख खोला. पहले किसको देखेगा? अर्जुन को देखा. तब दुर्योधन बैठ रहा है. खूब काफी खुश हो गए. उठा. क्यों आए? क्या चाहते हो? आपकी सहायता चाहते हैं महाभारत युद्ध के लिए. दोनों को तो सहायता देनी चाहिए. तब हम बांटेंगे. एक और मैं मात्र रहूं, युद्ध नहीं करूंगा, धनुष नहीं उठाऊंगा, सिर्फ मैं मात्र. और दूसरी ओर मेरी नारायणी सेना रहेगी. बोलो तो क्या चाहते हो? कौन पहले पूछेगा? कृष्ण के पास थोड़ा संदेह एंड फियर था. एक दुर्योधन का गड़बड़ करेगा. तब दुर्योधन ने कहा, मैं पहले आया हूं, इसीलिए फर्स्ट चॉइस मुझे देनी चाहिए. कृष्ण को संदेह था. तब उन्होंने कहा, तुम पहले आए हो, ठीक सामान लिया, फिर भी मैंने पहले देखा अर्जुन को, इसीलिए फर्स्ट चॉइस उसको देना चाहिए, मात्र नहीं तुम बड़े हो वो छोटा है। इसीलिए तब अर्जुन ने कहा मैं सेना नहीं चाहता हूँ, आपको ही चाहता हूँ, जो कोई आप करे न करे मेरे साथ आ जाना बस। ओह, दुर्योधन का रिलीफ हुआ, दीर्घ श्वास निकला, नारायणी सेना को नहीं मांगा, अच्छा हो गया, चले गए। बाद में कृष्ण ने पूछा, अरे अर्जुन तुमने क्यों मुझे चाहा? मेरे मन में कई सालों से एक अभिलाषा है। क्या है? आपको बिठाकर बड़ा एक युद्ध करना चाहिए, सारथी बनाकर, इसीलिए मेरा सारथी बनो। मान लिया। देख लीजिए ना अर्जुन के मन में क्या अभिलाषा था और कृष्ण के प्रति उसका हिसाब क्या है, थोड़ा सोच लीजिए अच्छी तरह। इस कृष्ण को सारथी के स्थान पर बिठाकर काफ़ी उत्साह से, आत्मबल से, अभिमान से, अभिलाषा से दौड़ कर गए कुरुक्षेत्र को। वहाँ जाकर कृष्ण से कहा, क्या कहा? रे कृष्ण सुनो, ड्राइव माई चैरियट and station it in a spot whereby I can examine both the armies and decide upon my strategy. ठीक प्रकार रखना, खड़ा कर देना, मैं दोनों सेनाओं का निरीक्षण करूं और डिसाइड करूं क्या करना है। Suddenly Krishna obeyed his master's command and drove the chariot and stopped it right in front of Bhishma, Drona and the others. Just imagine. He knew that my dear friend Arjuna does not know anything about what is within the body. He feels that his bow is his strength, arrow is his strength, Pashupadastra is his strength, nothing else. महाभारत के समान एक युद्ध में लड़ने के लिए ये काफी है क्या? सच्चा बल कहाँ से निकलेगा? सच्चा उत्साह कहाँ से निकलेगा? काफी प्रेरणा देने वाली सोर्स कहाँ है? वो कुछ नहीं जानता है, मूर्ख है। कितने सालों तक मैं उसका दोस्त बनकर साथ साथ रहे थे, कोई फल नहीं हुआ। इस बार हम करेंगे कुछ। इसीलिए वहाँ जाकर भीष्म द्रोणों के सम्मुख खड़ा कर दिया। देखो तुम अच्छी तरह कौन कौन है रणभूमि में और प्रतिपक्ष की नेता कौन है, अच्छी तरह देखो। देखा और रोने लगा, देखा रोने लगा, देखा रोने लगा। अरे इतना बड़ा वीर रणभूमि में आकर रोता है, ये क्या बात है? उसके पास तो गांडीव है, पाशुपतास्त्र है, शरीर का काफी बल है, अस्त्र शस्त्र विद्या में बिल्कुल निपुण है। यही सब होने के पर भी ये क्या बात है? किस बल का अभाव है यहां? To summarize the whole thing, Arjuna was absolutely fearful. He did not know anything at all. Just imagine how the situation developed. I am seeing my kith and kin in both armies. Here is my grandfather who had put me on his lap and given me morsels of food when I was young. I had no father. I have immense respect for him. He has immense love for him. Krishna I can fight enemies, but not friends and teachers. The two are different. There is no hatred between me and Bhishma. Similarly, no hatred between me and Drona. They also don't have. They happen to be the leaders there. Without fighting them and clearing them, I cannot penetrate into the army. What shall I do? He started crying. That is not the language of a fighter. To cry is not the language of a fighter. Krishna smiled and started speaking. For you it is grief, for me it is utsaha, he said. Another crying man cannot console you. You cry and the other man also starts crying. What will he speak? Unless you have a stable mind which is not afflicted as the other man sees, you will not be able to give any guidance at all. So first of all, Krishna spoke to him admonishingly. What is this nonsense that you are doing? This is the last minute of war. War cries have already been raised. Discharge of arrows is to commence. All people are ready for it. Because you started speaking to me, they are patient because of your greatness and respect for you. Speak the language of war, the language of fighting. Throw away your delusion, weakness. What is this? When Krishna spoke like this in a very harsh manner, Arjuna had to concede. What I do is not right. He amended himself and then said, I agree, Krishna, I am fighting, I shall fight, I have come here to fight. But the question remains that to fight the teacher, to fight the grandfather, between whom, grandfather and teacher and me, there is no dislike or enmity at all. How is it possible? I am a human, I have got a human mind. So he asked, Katham bhishmamaham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pradiyotsyami pujarha varisudana. The moment I see them, I should fall at their feet and worship them, adore them. Instead of that, I have to send sharp arrows at their chest to make them fall? How is it possible? You say I should fight, maybe I will fight. But I would like you to tell me how. How? What is the process? What is the ideology? What is the insight and perception by the help and greatness of which I shall be able to fight? So it became a quest for knowledge and instruction. Are you following me? Huh? In the war scene, suddenly, what happened? Jis prakar Shaunaka, the householder, went to Angiras the Maharshi, in the same manner Arjuna now questions Krishna. Tell me, compare the two situations. One transpired in the forest solitude hermitage. The other transpired in the din and bustle of Kurukshetra battlefield. The enquiry is the same. If you are able to understand and appreciate it, I can stop my talk. Kabhi ei mat kahiye. Spirituality is for ascetics. Spirituality is for sannyasins. हम तो गृही लोग हैं. हमारे लिए क्या है? खाना पीना सोना, खाना पीना सोना. थोड़ा विवाह भी करना, एक दो बच्चे भी होना, इतना ही हमारा काम. इसके अधिक कुछ मत कहिए. वो हमारे लिए नहीं है, हर एक हाउस होल्डर के लिए है. After hearing Krishna, finally he admits. What does he say? something very important, very important. Krishna actually presented before Arjuna the same knowledge which Angiras delivered to Shaunaka. He was quoting essentially from Kathopanishad, Arjuna, Krishna. From Kathopanishad he was quoting. The questions raised by young Nachiketas to the god of death, whatever the god of death replied, he has quoted them in full measure. So it was the same Upanishadic wisdom that Krishna communicated to Arjuna. And what was the temperament as well as quest of Arjuna? After explaining the whole situation and the impasse that was facing him, the confrontation, he says, Karpanya dosho bhagata svabhavaha prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yachrayasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. This one sloka is sufficient for all of you to be interested in Gita. Arjuna was a heroic man, valorous man, dharmic. He had studied the Vedas and also the Upanishads as part of his education syllabus. Everything was there. With additional strength and glories he had acquired during the 12-year forest exile, still he found that his mind was not sufficient. His intelligence was not illumined. And see what he says. Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha. My nature is overpowered by narrow-mindedness. What? I am not able to evaluate this war in the context of the heterogeneous world. After all, I am a person. All the people who have come here, they are also persons. It's an interaction. But I am not able to evaluate it and see it as you perhaps do, and Bhishma and Drona also do. For they also have feelings. Bhishma in fact blessed Yudhishthira when he went and prostrated before him before commencing the war. He said, "It is good that you came. If you had not come, I would have cursed you. But now that you have come and sought my permission and blessing, I am very happy. Fight and win," he said. What? Fight and win. He blessed him for victory. So they have no consternation. They are not shaken. Why did not Arjuna go to them and prostrate before them and ask them, I am totally unruffled. I am totally ruffled and you are not. What is the reason? How is it the war frightens me but it does not? Instead of doing it, he was telling Krishna as if he knew everything. So he says, Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha. Would you like to recite this? Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha Prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yachryasyad nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. See, before Angiras, what Shaunaka asked for, by knowing which I can know everything. It was a question coming within the range of that Para Vidya. Is not Arjuna also making the same similar question? He says, I am confused. My mind is narrow. It is not able to think properly and evaluate matters. So I have become deluded. Dharma sammudha chetaha. I suffer from delusion. I don't know what is proper. All along I was ready to fight. But when I came to the battlefield and drove me and took me in front of Bhishma and Drona, suddenly my resolve changed. And I say, I want to retreat. This jugglery is not right. So I am deluded. I don't know what is right and proper. My intelligence is not at all enlightened. Yat shreyasya nishchidam bruhitan me. Wherein lies spiritual wisdom, spiritual elevation. Shreyas, tell me that. This is what Shaunaka also asked Angiras. The language was different. The same question he is making here. What will bestow upon me Shreyas? Spiritual felicity, spiritual wisdom, spiritual redemption. Tell me that. I am now your disciple. You are my master. Instruct me as a master will his disciple. I am no more a fighter. I am no more your brother-in-law. I am simply a seeker. And I have come to you as a seeker, considering you as a master. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. I have completely sought refuge under you. My dear souls, you must have the right vision. This is a text written and composed, exchanged also in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, written and composed thereafter by Vyasadeva 5059 years ago. Tell me whether it is applicable to you or not. It may be a fighter, it may be a seeker. What is he saying? I am deluded. I don't know anything. So Arjuna's sufferings were ignorance on the one hand, delusion on the other, doubt and fear. The entire Bhagavad Gita is a treatment to these wrong and deterring emotions. Wherever you are and whatever you do, are not these factors constantly present in us? Are you not having fear? Don't you have doubt? Don't you have delusion? Don't you have ignorance? Wherever they are, in whichever field you may be, whatever activity you may pursue. He added one more sentence. What is that? Nahi prabhashyami mamapanudyat yachogam uchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnamrdham rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam. Ba. Let me take the freedom to tell you, my dear Krishna, you know what is my present plight? My whole senses are being scorched, being burnt. सारा शरीर जलता है. कारण क्या है? मन में जो दुख है, उस दुख के कारण. Many of you have been suffering from dukkha, but have you experienced the dukkha which was scorching your body? Is there anybody who has such a pain? Why don't you say, please lift your hand? I have met so many people who are suffering from dukkha. They go on crying before me. But nobody has said my senses and body are burning because of the sukha dukkha. Duryodhana told his uncle, after seeing the prosperity in Indraprastha of Yudhishthira, my dear uncle, I am not able to tolerate, I am not able to sleep, he said. But he did not say, my senses are burning. So he says, Nahi prabhashyami mamapanudyat yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam. My senses are being scorched by the grief I experience in my mind. It cannot be consoled by anything. Arjuna, somehow you fight. Somehow you fight. If you win, you get back your kingdom. If you die, you will enjoy the great heavens. Don't tell me these remote possibilities about which we are not sure. Finally, Arjuna's requirement was, I am suffering from scorching grief. Cool me and comfort me if you can. Without cooling and comforting me, don't ask me to take my weapon and fight. Shut your mouth unless you are able to cool and comfort my body. This is what he said. So what is Bhagavad Gita, you tell me now? Is it not an instruction? Is it not an enlightening dialogue by virtue of which all the defects that Arjuna was suffering from, his delusion, his doubt, his fear, his ignorance, all of them were to be removed. Now it will remove your fear, your ignorance, your doubt and your delusion. Have you understood now Bhagavad Gita's applicability? Never say that it is a religious book. It is to be read by religious people and for religious purposes. Never say that. Krishna and Arjuna both were public administrators. And to fight the government administrators and the army appointed by them, they alone can do it. So the situation, the atmosphere should not be forgotten, neglected. Be very, very sure about it. Krishna looked at him and that's tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha prahasanniva bharata senayor bhayor madhye vishidam idam vachaha. Standing in between the two armies, Arjuna, who was sorrowing immensely, Krishna, looking at him, started smiling, and smilingly he began his talk. Smilingly he began his talk. That clearly proves that Krishna has that kind of a greatness, that kind of a glory, that kind of a treasure in him, by virtue of which such an agonizing situation can be alleviated. Whenever you are advising others, the advisor must be sufficiently stable. He must have the maturity of experience, the glory of wisdom, the grace of stability, and magnificent compassion. There is nothing that our mind cannot face in this world. Our body may not be able to face, but our mind is invincible. And the role of intelligence is to make the mind so. In one sense, it is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, the aggrieved Arjuna and the wise Krishna. Otherwise, it is a dialogue between the enlightened intelligence and the deluded human mind. Krishna represents the enlightened intelligence and Arjuna represents the deluded human mind. Take it like that. I shall stop now. Samvedya varjitamanottamamekamādyam samvidpadam vigalanam kalayan mahatman hridyeva tishtha kalanarahita kriyam tu kurvan agartrapadamethya shamodida shrihi kurvan agartrapadamethya shamodida shrihi. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi Om Tatsat. समावन ओंकार सभी मिलकर हरि हरि। ओ Harihi Om Tats. Jai Guru. Jai Guru.